All right, Hannah, introduce your friend for us.
Yes, I just want to thank Suzala for joining us today. We are very excited to have you here. Suzala is an artist from Long Island. She's a designer, a teacher, and I have been lucky to had the opportunity to take her workshop in Chicago, and then we also spent very nice time sketching in New York. She belongs to the New York City Urban Sketchers. So she has a lot of experience and we want to hear about you and your work. Thank you.
Anna, thank you guys for having me. This is such a pleasure. Just like you guys, I love talking about art supplies and how we do things and what we're dragging with us. So this is going to be fun. I'd like to just welcome you all to the Brotherhood of the Urban Sketchers, because I understand your chapter is fairly new and really getting a solid foundation now. And that's really exciting to have you guys as part of the family. I have been a member of Urban Sketching for about 6 years. I think I start my 7th year in September. I am a graphic designer. I did pre-production advertising work like storyboards and animation for advertising agencies in New York and finished illustrations. And I went on to design websites and do a lot of branding work. I worked for Neil Adams. He also did that, but he is more known for being an amazing comic artist. He recently died about 3 weeks ago. He is the man who is credited for turning Batman into the Dark Knight. So I got a lot of training from him. As a comic book artist, you really learn very quickly how to get your line and the expression down quickly. Otherwise, you lose the reader. And when your reader is average age is 16, you got to be good at it. So I went from there and I found urban sketching and I never looked back. I had not drawn anything from life since college days. So it was like 40 years of me not drawing anything. And I started drawing and bam, I just loved it, as I'm sure you guys all do too. And I'm not so much drawing with black line anymore. I'm doing a lot of watercolor painting work and I'll show you all that now. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the stuff I carry with me and the stuff that I use and how I make life a little bit easier, because there are some really good tricks of the trade to learn. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is sort of like my credo, which is do blind contour drawings. Nobody likes to do them, except for me. I'm like the only person on the planet. They will change your art. They will totally change your artwork. They will make you a more accurate sketcher. You will not have to worry about perspective anymore. You will become the amazing artist that you want to be, if you're not that already. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Blind contour. Oh, this is the book I was looking for. Blind contour drawing is this I just did. My son graduated from college, and these were people just behind me in the audience that were sitting there. Now this is all, except for obviously the watercolor, this is all done without looking. I occasionally look to, get the pen point started up here again, or maybe go, oh, I left this guy out, so I better put him in. But generally speaking, this is all blind contour drawing. The act of blind contour drawing, what's so interesting about it is that it trains your hand and eye to work as one unit. And it sort of tells your brain to go on vacation. When you're drawing, you have to make sure that where your pencil point is or your marker point is exactly where your eye is looking. And if you can get those two to work together, at some point, you will be able to accurately reproduce exactly what you're seeing, which translates into when you're looking and doing work and trying to get it right the first time. So even, this is actually my husband, I think. This is a looser version. And some of them are sometimes just straight blind, and some of them are actually, this is my favorite. I was in physical therapy for a really long time. Physical therapy and the beach are two amazing places to get models to be drawing all the time. And these are all obviously not these little lines here, but these are all just one line drawing. You can see here how I came down and came back and came back and came back and forth just to get that line down. Having people just sit there for hours with their ice pack on was amazing. And if you're over 40, there's a good chance you've been at least once in physical therapy. I know I'm on a regular schedule basis. These are some more. These are some more that I did at physical therapy again. And these are just, I do them all the time. I have a book like this sitting underneath the seat of my car because God forbid I'm in the car for 5 minutes and I am waiting for my husband to come out of the booze. I'm drawing. You have to make it so that you're drawing all the time. I think somebody's sound is. Anyway, let's see what else is in here. Mark some here, more physical therapy. And these are all just drawing. It enables you to just be able to concentrate on what you're drawing. Worry so much about where you are in the picture, what it should look like. Let's see what else we got. Just some more. During the pandemic, I would often go on group discussions and whatnot and just draw the people who chats. Ooh, what's this? Oh, this is physical therapy. The owner's dog.
Suzala,
Yeah.
you have a repeat. You can hear.
Oh, I
You need
can't.
to cut the
The only thing I
audio
can do is
on one.
try and come back on. It's the same as it was before. Sorry about that, guy. Oh, you're not going to let me join.
Recording in progress.
Okay, how's that? Okay.
Let's see.
Is my hand the correct way?
No, it's it's vertical.
There we go.
There, yes. But we still can hear a little bit.
You can still hear. Repeat.
Yeah. I'm going to mute a couple of people if you have not muted yourself, or I'm going to ask to mute.
Do you happen to have, Suzala, do you happen to have 2 devices going?
I do, but one is on mute.
It is on mute. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I teach online almost every single day, so I'm really used to this.
Okay.
Are you still having a problem? Is it gone?
No, now it looks, now it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Okay.
We can continue and everyone is mute.
So here's the owner's dog. This was my favorite. Her name is Lucy. Once again, just tons of line contour drawing. Now, if any of you guys, oh, what's that a picture of? Oh, you've lost me. Hannah,
Yes.
do you see me?
It's
We're having a lot of technical difficulties tonight, aren't we?
yeah, sometimes happens.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we're wrong again. Hold on. I apologize to everyone.
It's vertical.
Come on, turn.
Probably the font insists to be vertical, but the sound is good now.
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Now,
Very good.
Hannah, do you recognize this at all?
I remember that as the Met. Yes.
This is
And
actually
this is me.
it is. Some more contour drawing on the subway. Subway's always a great place to draw. I think I got one or two more to show you. Oh, this is also, I use this for learning techniques all the time. So these are blind contour drawings of cars. I hate drawing cars. I don't get them. I don't get their proportions. I don't get the slopes on them. I think it's mostly because I'm just not interested in them enough. But I started doing blind contour drawings of them just so that I could start to learn them a little bit better. Now, these are all done without looking. I actually do cars way better not looking than looking, to be honest. This was outside my house, across the street, there are cars. So as you can see, it's not only great to become a better artist, but just to learn how things are constructed a lot better. These are, I'm really pleased with these guys. Oh, here's some more for that. So if any of you out there are knitters, I have to tell you, when you make a gauge is to determine how many stitches per inch. And if you're off on your gauge, you can, instead of ending up with a size 10 sweater, it'll be in size 18 sweater. And nobody likes to do gauges because you all want to get started knitting right away. And the answer is that blind contour drawings, while they take up time, they're the key answer. And I would highly recommend everybody doing them. Hannah, I have lost, oh, there we go. No, I have lost all the pictures of everybody online.
But we can see you perfectly.
Oh, I know, but I was going to do a blind contour. Oh, there we go.
Ah.
A blind contour drawing of somebody up there.
Ah,
Let the wheel of fortune spin.
okay.
Let's see if I can. Oh,
Or do you want me to spotlight someone for you?
no, that'll take the fun out of it. Maybe people can figure out who I'm doing. I have to find a good face, though. I have to admit, I haven't done any contour drawing. Hi, Katya. I didn't know you were here tonight.
There's no good faces in this group.
They're all
Suzala.
too nice looking. That's the problem. Way too nice looking. Okay, here we go. So I'm using a Fude pen. I'm sure Marek talked your hearts off about Fude pens if you weren't there for his chat. A Fude pen is a fountain pen that has this bent nib foot to it. I don't know if you guys can see it right up there.
Yes.
And it allows you to not only draw and get really thin lines like that, but you can turn the pen as you're working and get a nice heavier line. You can also turn it and get a really fine line using this end as well, upside down. Now, Marek won't ever agree to this, but I actually owned a Fude pen way before I met him. So don't let him tell you otherwise. Okay, I'm going to try and do this fairly quickly, so we'll see how accurate we're going to be. I'm feeling the pressure. Never performed for an audience like this before. Oh boy, I'm rusty. How am I going to get there? Close enough. Any idea, anybody?
Scott,
Mary Blue.
Mary Blue. Who's Mary Blue?
Mary Blue, raise your hand.
Oh,
Yes, she's.
So, and you saw how long that took, literally 2 seconds. And I got the hair down, I got the features in the right spot. That's half the battle. So I can't talk about this enough. Do your contour drawings, whatever you're doing, do them. So I'm gonna go on to talk about some more stuff. Am I boring everybody yet? Hate to
Not
think
at
about
all.
this.
Not at all.
No.
So the other thing I'm going to talk about, which I actually teach workshops across the country for urban sketching, is value drawing. And value drawings are really little thumbnails like this. I use maybe 2, sometimes 3 markers just to get down the basic stuff. Now, the most important reason is because you start to work out your angles. It helps a lot with that. But more importantly, it helps with your shadows. Because when you start to draw and paint at 12 o'clock and you start putting in your paint at 1 o'clock and you get to the shadows at 2 o'clock, they are not the same shadows they were at 1 o'clock. So if you get your shadows down, by the time you get to them, it doesn't matter what's on the actual building. You just follow this. This is your framework. If this works, then it's going to work at the end as long as you follow it. That's the key. So this became, I may have to pull back. So that became that. And all I had to do was follow those shadows. I mean, the shadows are all about this picture, but it happens over and over again. So let me show you. One evening last week, I went out and I did a really fast looking contour drawing of a very industrial street, about 15 minutes away from my house. I was fascinated by all the telephone poles and the water towers, and I just wanted to get in where everything is and what did it look like. This helped me organize my page. Once I had this down, I went back the next day and I did this. And by doing that one, it's not tight by any stretch. The car barely looks like a car, but it does look better since I did those contour drawings. But here, everything's in place, and your value drawings will help you organize this stuff. Now, if you look at this, I've got 1 house, 2 houses, 3 houses. Oh, I've got 3 houses here too. I thought I left the house out, and I just kind of did it on purpose because I didn't like the way it looked. But it enabled me, you know, when you get tight in your drawing, you start to like cram down. I've got the little balustrade here, and I've got the little window, and I've got all the little lights, and I've got like every little thing down. But then when I went to paint, I left tons of it out because it really wasn't important. It wasn't crucial to me telling a story. And as an artist, I feel like that's my job. I don't want to paint. I can. I mean, I've been an artist my whole life. I can paint something hyper realistic. I can copy the crap out of it. Everybody has a camera in their back pocket. You want an actual picture of something that looks super realistic? Take the darn photograph and call it a day. You want to tell a story? Paint it, and don't make it look exactly the way it looks. It's not important. Make it look how you felt when you were looking at it. Okay. Whoops, sorry. I'm not gonna. Oh. This is a note time I did not that long ago. Right off the wall for you guys. Here's the painting. Now you can see I followed my plan. This is a medium tone, medium value, dark values, dark values. Highlight here, white there. Once you set it up here, it's like your roadmap. It answers all the questions that you have. Oh, I have another one in here. Here we go. Ah. This turned into this. Sorry about the glare. There's also something to be said for muscle memory. Now, you can see this book is not big. It's maybe 4 by 3.5. It's quite tiny. By drawing this, it really helped me get this arc down. There's a certain amount of muscle memory that you retain when you draw something a second and or third time. And it helps you when you get to your official painting or your official drawing. It's really irrelevant. I think I have one more to show you. I'm not going to find it. No. Sorry, guys. That's it. That's it. I'll go home. So let me talk a little bit about how I go through these days. I used to carry a big book like this all the time. You guys probably carry something similar. It's pretty thick and it weighs a lot. If you are fortunate enough to have somebody come by while you're in the middle of doing a piece of artwork and say, oh, do you sell your work? I would love to buy that. Now you have to rip this out of here. Not something you really want to do. You can also have a day where you paint something crappy and you're not happy with it. And there it is, smack in the middle of your book. Although I do love this part over here, I gotta say. You're stuck with this crappy painting in the middle of your book, and what are you going to do with it? There it is. You get to look at it every time you open the book. So I've solved this problem, both the weightiness and the bad thing. This is a coroplast book that I designed. Now, if I hold it on the side, let's see if I can get this. What I did was I took coroplast and I made 2 scores in it, one on each side. You can see the score right over here. And I put tape over it, and I did so on the inside as well. And then I just strung a rubber band, and I cut watercolor paper to fit in here. These are just single sheets that I cut up, and I've got this piece of rubber band here holding it all in place. Now I'm carrying something that's super lightweight. Once I've filled it up, I take the stuff out. If somebody wants to buy something I have, I just slide the sheet right out. Here, $500, please. So this enables you to carry stuff lighter, to not carry as much, to not always have the same painting showing, and it gives you a good backboard to work on, to put on your legs. And the advantage is that you can make them any size you want. So this is a tiny little one that I carried through Amsterdam. And it's just this little elastic thing that I got at Michael's in the jewelry section. And just, I cut out paper the size that I wanted to. And if I want to, I can just pull it out and put in new paper. But this really changed things because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not getting any younger and I'm carrying more and more and my back is not liking it. So I have to figure out ways to get this lighter, way lighter. And you can make it whatever size you want. The other thing I came up with was this thing. It's just a piece of mat board. That's all it is. Not a big deal. I took some rubber cement. I put it on here. I put it on the piece of paper. I stuck it down here. And there's online, you can find this way to fold paper. And I made a book. And it wasn't a big deal. And it's so light to carry. And look at all these pages I have here. Boom. Easy. So easy. I had actually, before all of this, I had actually hardbound covered a book to take with me. Just regular binding. It was such a pain in the butt. I never did it again. Now, so when I first started urban sketching and watercolor was not as big of a deal, I created this little thing here. So once again, we have our piece of coroplast that I put together 2 boards. And you know, coroplast has ribbing on it. So I put one ribbon going one way and one ribbon going the other way. So it was super strong and wasn't going to bend at all. Here's my thumb to hold it. A little magnet I just cut out, and I cut one layer of the coroplast away, and I stuck one of those hard magnets in. So I put my watercolor on there. It ain't going anywhere. And if you guys haven't figured out, urine containers from the doctors are awesome for carrying water in them. And every time I go to the doctor, he knows it, and he has 2 or 3 waiting for me just to take home all nice and clean. So I cut the hole to fit that perfectly. And there I go. And I'm ready to paint. I'm holding the book on my lap. I've got the brush in my hand and everything's right there. I don't have to lean over to the water, you know, to get it. It's right here. I don't know. It seemed like the simplest way to go. I'm all about doing this as light and quickly as I possibly can. And that's how I started. And now, because I've gotten a little bit away from drawing with a black line and going straight to watercolor, when I paint my watercolors, I don't put a pencil line down at all. I don't put an ink line down. I just go straight to watercolor. I'm much more independent, so I'm carrying less markers and pencils and things like that, and just more watercolors. But unfortunately, the equipment has gotten heavier somehow. I went out and I purchased a Craig Young palette. And if any of you have not seen this, it is a brilliant feat of engineering. And the thing that I like about it best is that, is that you have these nice deep wells and you can make a pool of watercolor. So if you've got to do a sky or a big spot of grass or water, these wells are really quite deep and hold quite a lot of water. The problem with it is this is really expensive. It costs about the same thing that my iPad costs. It's handmade in Europe, and it's all brass and coated with 3 coats of automotive paint. The purpose of that and the brass is so that it doesn't rust. I would bet dollars to donuts if I looked at this, it's probably all rusty along here. Yeah, I can see the rust running over there. And so you have to replace these every once in a while. This is never going to have to be replaced. And for what it cost me, it shouldn't have to. But I love this thing. The disadvantage is it weighs like, I'd say it weighs about 5 pounds, 4 or 5 pounds. It is heavy. It is really heavy.
What's its name?
Craig Young. Now, there are a couple of other places that make it. There's an Indian manufacturer that does, it looks almost identical. There's a company that begins with an F. I want to say Finelli, but that's Ian Finelli. That can't be right. You can find them online if you just Google handmade brass palettes. But when I went to buy them, I actually just looked to see which one was the lightest. And this one was lighter by a couple of ounces. And to me, they were all within $50 of one another. And I knew I was going to have to hold this a long time. And I figured that that's the way to go. I have to go with the lighter thing. In keeping with lightness, I have purchased this little doodad. If I want to sit down while I'm sketching, I just pull this little number out. It's made of styrofoam or something like that. And I put it on the floor and I have a place to sit or kneel or whatever. Super light, comes with its own little case. I think it was all of like $8 on Amazon, really cheap. I don't carry a chair with me anymore because it's too heavy. And honestly, I work with an easel now. So most of my work is done standing up. When you're working in an easel, not only does it give you the opportunity to step back from what you're doing, which gives you a totally different perspective on what you're painting or drawing, but in addition, it allows the free motion of your arm. You're not just working like this. And as I show my students, here's their piece of paper. See if I can pull this off. Just to give you an idea, when you're holding your brush, do not hold it like this. If you hold it like this, get some watercolor up. I wasn't planning on this, but it seems appropriate. Okay, so you want to make a circle. So you hold it like this, and I say, make a circle about the size of a softball. Kind of can't do it. Your wrist doesn't cooperate. If, however, you hold your brush here, and you hold it like this, instead of the pinch, you hold it like this. It gives you the opportunity to get much more out of your brush and much more expressive lines. First of all, holding it up like this, my whole arm is moving when I'm making a circle. And I can make it in one stroke. Second of all, holding it upright, I can get these really skinny lines, or I can get a really fat line. And get a really skinny line again. So skinny you can't even see it. When I'm holding it down like this, if I try and do that, that's it. That's as far as I can go. So think about holding your brush a little bit differently. This is the way Chinese calligraphers hold their brush. And I find that it's just much more expressive. I can get so much more out of my brush as a result. And I've got my whole arm that I'm using to paint with. Okay. This is so weird. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. So back to my stuff. So I've developed this system, this little help. There's a couple of websites online that can help you too. Facebook, there's a I think it's Sketch Easel on Facebook, and it's people inventing all kinds of plein air easels. But I've taken Coroplast once again. Only a single sheet is necessary. I tape up the edges and I stick some industrial Velcro on the back. So this is what I use to tape my watercolor paper to. And you guys, stop buying these blocks. They are so expensive. Go to Cheap Joe's, go to Jerry's, go to Blick's. It doesn't really matter. Figure out what paper you like. Arches, Fabriano Artistico, Strathmore. If you buy a package of 10, you can get 100% cotton Fabriano Artistico, 22 by 30 for about $6 a sheet. It's crazy to buy these blocks. It's crazy. Not only that, you take one of these blocks out and you paint your painting, and now you want to paint another one. What do? This painting is drawn. You can't remove it. You can't paint anything more. If you work either singly like this, or even in the books that I was showing you before that I made with the rubber band, you can always go to another page. This is so overpriced. Don't buy these. It's my personal opinion. I'm sure Winsor Newton is going to call me right away. So I've got this piece of Coroplast that I can make any size I want. And I've got Velcro on the back. And here's my easel that I've got one of those fast hook things on where the camera would go. See if I can demo. So that's the normal place where the camera would go. Here's the thing that you hook on. This is just a piece of plywood that my husband had around. This is the other side of the Velcro, and I just stick it on, and I can go anywhere and paint whatever I want. It's hard to do when you're not like looking at it. The advantage is I go drawing and I take my car with me if I'm not going into, and I can have 7 of these with me, all with a piece of Velcro on the back. So I can go from one painting to the other really quickly, just whip it off my tripod and there we are, good to go.
I have a question. I feel
Absolutely. Who's asking?
Monica, I feel really,
Monica, what can I help you with?
I feel really stupid. I do not know.
No,
I don't know what,
Monica, I teach second graders. You cannot ask a stupid question.
I don't know what Coroplast is.
Oh, you can get it in the hardware store like Home Depot or, hold on a minute.
I wouldn't even know what to look for. I have no idea what it is.
Here's a pretty big sheet of it that I have here. Coroplast is called this because, do you see, I don't know if you can see this. Let me get a good, oh, here's a good side. Do you see that? It looks like corrugated cardboard in between it.
Okay.
So that's
They
what they
make
call.
yard sale signs and things out of it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
political signs also. Now, if you go into
I can go
Lowe's,
just steal them off the street.
Lowe's doesn't carry them, but Home Depot does. And when you go in and you ask for Coroplast, you're going to get the blankest look you've ever seen on your face. They're not going to know what the hell it is. And you tell them it's the stuff that they make political signs with. But you tell them, I don't want the sign ones though. I want the big ones. And the big ones are over in the section, you know, when you have like a drop ceiling in your kitchen and they put those big sheets of plastic in, they're over there. And the reason you want to buy those is because those little political sign sizes are like $7, and a sheet that's like 22 by 33 is going to cost you like $12. And you can cut it up to whatever sizes you want. Does that help, Monica?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm kind of, what time is it? Have I out-talked myself?
No, not at all. I think we have another question or comment. Eva?
No, I was just going to say, let's get some comments in here.
Uh-huh.
Let's cut questions.
I think Eva raised her hand. Are you there?
Yeah. Sorry, I had to duck out. I know you mentioned you don't do as much line work anymore, but was your pen technique similar to your brush technique, where you had the more upright, looser grip?
Definitely. Definitely. And I think part of it comes from doing all that blank contour work. Because I like that looser look. I feel like I want to tell a story. I want to tell a story about where I was and what I was doing. And if you've been doing this for a while, I actually just found pictures that I did in Amsterdam 4 years ago when Urban Sketchers had their symposium there. And I looked at this painting that I did, this drawing I should say, and I could remember the noises in the street. I can remember that there was a bakery right next door where I sit on the floor drawing, and I can remember what it smelled like. There's something about drawing that helps you to retain all the information. My husband is incredibly tolerant, and wherever we go, he always manages to find time for me to sit down and draw for a little bit. And I do a travel log. I have stuff where we went with the kids. We went up to Montreal. We went to Quebec. I have drawings from all of that and with tickets and stuff like that. So it's always a fast thing. It's got to get down quickly, so that also that blank hunter drawing style lends itself to getting it down quickly. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that did.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I have to say, when I just draw, when I'm writing, I tend to hold the pen like this, and I always did. So now I've adjusted it from that to up and down. And if you look in any calligraphy books, they'll show you the same thing. And when you're painting, if you want to retain that loose style, the further, kind of like chopsticks, the further back you hold it, the looser your style is going to be, and the looser your brush strokes are going to be, and they'll be more varied. Especially when you come to like, let's see if I can get something here. Here's a tree. See what I mean? You just get way more varied line, way more varied stroke, and honestly, it goes so much faster.
It looks like the sort of bulbous shape of your brush is also assisting some of that with that control. Would you agree
Well,
with that?
Well, it's the way that the brush is made. You know, a brush is made with a big fat belly here and a point at the end. The water is held in the belly of the brush. It's not really held here. So when you're painting, oh, where's my little thingy? Hold on. I have 2 items that I use for when I'm painting. These are so fabulous. Run, do not walk, run to your Trader Joe's and get sink cleaning cloths. They come in blue and yellow and like mint green. They come 2 to a package. I think they're like $3.99. They're really inexpensive. And cut them up. Do not make the same mistake. I cut them up to like this big, kind of like shrink as you're using them, kind of nice size. So when I'm working, I'm either using this or I'm using a high density foam sponge. It is not a regular sponge. And this one is hard as a rock right now, so I can't even demo. But when you're working and you've wet your brush, you want to actually take the brush and not take the excess water off this way, but you want to take it from here and get it out of the belly a little bit. And then you won't have that rush of water coming out. Now, when you're working, when you hold it upright, you're just getting that tip. So the advantage to using your whole arm and holding it up higher, this is too low for me, is that the ability to shove down and use the whole brush and the whole belly. Did that answer?
If you're a watercolorist and you've never used sumi-e brushes, you should try it. They're very special.
I mean, like these.
Yeah.
So most of, oh, I don't, can I have my good brushes? Okay. This is a whole nother topic. So these brushes, these brown ones are wolf hair brushes. That's what they call them, wolf hair. These are goat hair mixes with wolf hair in the middle and goat on the outside. I much prefer the wolf hair brushes. If you go onto AliExpress, I feel like this is discount days with Suzala. If you go onto AliExpress, you can get these for like $2.99. And they're marvelous brushes. This one is a really old one. You can see it got stubbed and I kept it along to make interesting lines with. But
Hey.
Here, this crappy looking brush here for $2.99. Makes the most wonderful, wonderful lines. This one looks like it may be on its way out. I don't have enough water. I didn't expect to do any watercolor demonstrations here. Look, it's a pile of leaves. No, it's a flower. Okay, did that answer? Yes. $2.99 AliExpress. I highly recommend them, as well as these guys for 99 cents. You can get these most wonderful liner brushes that make telephone wire forever and ever and ever and never run out of paint. And this was like $1.25, I think. I just saw them online. It was $1.59 for 3 of them of 3 different sizes and another $1.50 to send to me for shipping. You can't beat it. When I buy them, I buy like 6 at a time because I don't want to wait the 3 months to get them again. So I just buy like $10. Give me $10 worth of brushes, please. Also, one other thing while I'm on this. If you have studio space at all that you can leave stuff out in. Now I know that up until like 3 years ago, I did not have a studio space like this. I worked at my regular work desk, or I worked at the kitchen table, just like mostly everybody else does. But now that I have space, and if you have space, I highly recommend this. This is a pool noodle that I cut in half, right? And then I scored partially way through, and you stick it on the end of your desk like this. And once you've used your brushes, you can let them dry like that.
Oh, what a great idea.
Isn't it brilliant? I cannot accept it. I saw it somewhere on the internet, but I was like, oh, damn, go to that dollar store at 99 cents and get a pool noodle. I'm giving you all my secrets. Are there any other questions? No.
Hey, Suzala, this is Chris.
Hi, I know your voice.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with your lightweight travel. You know, that's some brilliant ideas, I think, to lighten. How do you counter that lightweight with your easel? Because I find usually my easel is my biggest, bulkiest thing, unless you pay a lot of money for, you know, an expensive lightweight one. But what's your easel like?
It's heavy, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter which one you buy. I've seen the man
Yep.
throw. All the easels weigh about the same. They're not heavy
Yeah.
until you put the flipping ball joint or whatever on top. This thing here, not the wood that I put on, but this piece here weighs a fortune. Weighs a fortune. Weighs a ton. I'm sorry.
It does. No, that was a
weighs a
good Freudian
ton.
slip. That was a good Freudian slip.
A
because they do
man
weigh a
Freudian
fortune.
slip, sir.
Yeah.
It weighs a ton. So in spite of the fact that my husband has told me not to do this, I just leave this right on here. I never take it off. And I carry a knapsack with my drawing supplies in it. I carry a lightweight Blick canvas to carry like three coroplasts in it. And I hand carry this. And I used to also carry one of those walker chairs. I can't remember what they're called. It's a great chair, but it's like, I suddenly realized I really don't sit down all that much. I'm standing and painting most of the time. So I don't even bother with it. And I carry this little foam thing with me, just in case I want to sit down on the floor or something. And I don't want to, I don't know, I may be old, but I'm still sitting on the floor. What can I tell you?
All right. Thanks for that.
Anybody have any other questions? Oh my God. I feel like I've talked forever and I'm the only one talking. Somebody else has to be able to say something. You're also well behaved down in Florida. Talk about, let me talk to you about my studio a little bit, if you don't mind. Do you guys want to see my studio?
Yes, please, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna unplug here. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to do this. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I actually, since I am a commercial artist and I do teach, I have students that I teach 14 of them a week. Oh, this is facing me. I don't want it facing. So I actually make money from my studio. So I'm gonna have a way bigger studio than everybody else does. But I got this gray thing here that all the paintbrushes are sitting on from IKEA. I love IKEA. My desk is from IKEA. I have all of my supplies all within close reach. Everything that I need. That's my regular workstation. A desk to lace up out and glue, whatever I have to. And then further in the back, my flat files. This is actually it was for my art supplies, but my cat has taken over the top of it. This is how I keep my watercolors. And of course, they're color coded, the reds in the red drawer, and the greens in the green drawer. And I've got more storage down there, more drawers with glue and glue sticks and printer paper. And you never have too many gray markers to do those note times. And further back, I have an area that I do charcoal and my printing press and my printing. The other thing I wanted to show you to solve a problem was I got this big lemonade jug so that I had water down here because I'm in my basement. I know you Floridians probably don't have basements, but I had a lot of trouble getting water back and forth since I don't have a sink down there. This is what I use. And in my everyday carry kit, I use an empty soda bottle to carry my water in. There's something I was going to show you. Oh, over here, I'm showing you the bowels of the art studio now. This is a garbage can that I got at one of those dollar store places. The lid stays on really securely. And this is where I put my wastewater. And I wait until it gets all filled up. And then I bring it upstairs to empty it into the sink. Beware, you should not empty all of your water into the sink. You should hold off the last bit, wipe it with a paper towel and put it in your garbage. Because otherwise there could be toxins that could go in there that are not really good for your water supply. Is there anything else I can tell you guys or demo or?
I have a follow-up to the studio tour before you get too comfy.
Right.
Do you have a go bag? Something if you're gonna pick up and sketch now. Yeah, there we go.
That's such a funny question because you know any artist that has one go bag. I know artists they have 3 and 4 go bags. That's the truth. This is my latest incarnation. I got it at IKEA. It's kind of big, but there's some madness, some intelligence behind it. First of all, it's got a flat square bottom. And if your paints are really runny in the tin, you don't want to throw it into a bag and have them sit sideways. You want to have them sit flat. So I love that flat part down here. The other thing I like about it is this top. On a normal backpack, the tops are shaped like this. They're kind of like rounded at the top. So if this is 11 inches tall, you can't fit an 11-inch tall thing in it because the corners are cut off. So this has an envelope top and I can make it as small as I want to by adjusting this strap here. It's also pretty handy because the side has a zipper that leads either into the main compartment or this side, I guess, is probably meant for laptops. This just goes right into its own compartment. So that's where I put like my wallet, my personal stuff, and things like that. That answer that question? I have gone through a couple of different knapsacks. I even when you're really tight for space, I got this little guy from joining AARP. And it's really a really nice size to carry around. But normally I just bring a little book with me and one pen and maybe a teeny tiny little, like the etcher travel paint things, paint tins. What are they called? Hannah, help me. You know what I'm talking about, girlfriend? Palettes?
Palettes?
Yeah. You know those tiny little flash palettes that are like, oh yeah, here's one. These guys. You guys, I'm sure you guys have all seen these. So teeny, tiny, skinny. So I stick this in my handbag and I stick a water brush, which really isn't effective to doing anything but a little spot color. And that's enough. Now, if these things intrigue you, do not run to the Etcher website and buy one for like $40 or $60 or $80. This was actually a gift from a friend of mine. Do not. Instead, run to your dollar store and buy an eyeshadow kit. And when you buy it, look inside and make sure that the eyeshadow isn't just jammed into plastic wells, that they're usually jammed right into these little metal things right here. And if you just take a knife and scoop out the eyeshadow and put in paint, you got a great little skinny palette. And that's how I originally started. I had a little palette like that. That was like nothing. But this is a nice little thing to carry, just like to go to the doctor's office or whatever. And I have to tell you, I don't know if it's just from working on the computer my whole life, doing all kinds of work. I have an iPad. I have a Procreate. I never draw on it, ever. And I think I just don't want to draw on a computer. I love the feeling of paper. I love the feeling of pen on paper. It's just so magical that Procreate just doesn't do the same thing. I don't care if you can erase 10 times.
Question.
Me, please.
I'm Jess.
Jess,
Can you hear me?
hi.
Hi, can you hear me? Hey.
Yes, I can hear you. I just told I'm not putting you to sleep.
So two things. One, I saw your little palette. Did you have a pared down set of colors that are like your go-to, your desert island colors, I guess you could say?
Mhm.
And would you
What?
mind sharing those?
I would be happy to. Was that the two questions?
No, the other one was more of not a question, but it was I was inspired by you saying contour. So I was trying to do a couple little blind sketches of everybody while they're here.
Oh,
So I was practicing while I was listening.
I
just
do
wanted
it
to-
all the time.
It's a good idea.
Unsuspectful.
You can tell which ones I wasn't looking, which ones I was peeking.
Well, you know, I have students on a regular basis from age 2 to age 77. Not 2, I'm sorry, 2nd grade to 77 years old. And with the really little ones, and with especially the older ones, quite honestly, I start them off and I say, we're doing blind contour drawing. This is how we do it. But for the first week or two, I want you to do peeking blind contour. So that means if you need to, you're totally lost, you can't remember where you are, leave your pen in the spot and look down, and then look back up, find that spot and continue drawing. And that's a good sort of way to get into it and get your chops well honed.
Right. Cool.
As far as my palette is concerned, the palettes are pretty much the same. As you can see, the beauty of this one is there aren't that many colors in it. Believe it or not. Oh, I guess I've split them up because I've started to try new colors. That's how I do this. I took a piece of credit card and I cut it up and I just stuck it in here. This is actually, I must be out of my mind. I stuck a piece, I'll have to clean it later, between phthalo blue and white gouache. I must be out of my mind. I don't know what I was thinking. Let me clean up my finger here. So I have what's sort of an advanced split palette. When my students start with me, I have them get 7 colors and only 7. And for a really long time, they only work with 7 because that's all the colors you really, really need. And those colors, and you can find them just about on everybody. I bet Sherry Blaukoff uses almost the same ones. Mostly everybody uses the same ones. Lemon yellow. Some people use cadmium. Now I've got blue underneath my nail. This isn't a real artist. I don't know what is. Lemon yellow, cadmium or Hansa yellow medium. For my reds, I use pyrrole scarlet. Some people use cadmium. They're very similar. Cadmium's a little bit more opaque, but not much. For my pinks, blue reds, I use quin magenta. Sometimes in this particular case, I have quin magenta and I have a little alizarin red. I can't say it today, I guess not. What I've done here in these 2 guys here is I paint according to values now. That's why I use 3 grades. When you're looking at something, it's either a light color, a medium color, or a dark color. So it doesn't really matter if I use this color or this color. They're the same value. If I use these 2, they're the same value. So that's why I've started to like split things up to get more colors. Here, this is raw sienna and yellow ochre. Same value. One is cool, one is warm. The yellow ochre is a little bit more opaque, but I usually, I don't even start with that. I've got the 2 yellows, the 2 reds, a cerulean blue, an ultramarine blue, and a burnt sienna. And that's all you really need. 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues, and a burnt sienna. Burnt sienna and blue make the most fabulous blacks. And as you can see, I shouldn't say never, I rarely clean my palette. Here's my desk palette. What a total mess, right? You keep using the same colors over and over again. And on this travel palette, I tend to keep the same colors in the same places. So my blacks are always in here, my yellows are always back here, my reds here, my purples here, and my greens are usually here. I had a very big green weekend this weekend. That's why this is like that. But these are just like, this is a cool brown, a warm brown. This is a an opaque red, Indian red. I don't even remember what I stuck in there. This is phthalo green, and I switched it for a diopside green. I'm thinking I'm liking it a little bit better. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a little, you can't even see it. There's a little credit card in there too, splitting the two up. So does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
There's a lot of colors if you want to add. I don't think greens are necessary. You can add a phthalo green yellow at some point. Don't ever use it straight because it's like arsenic. The phthalo colors stain like crazy, just crazy. And they're not natural colors. They're not like colors you would find in nature anywhere. So you have to always mix into it some blues, some pink, some yellow, ochre, or raw sienna. You have to mix something into it to make it look more natural. But you don't really need the greens. They're nice to have. It's a convenience color.
Right.
Anything else? Okay, I'm going home.
You are home.
Oh, one other thing that this is a new thing two new things that I just come across. Where is it? I just had it 2 seconds ago. I was not
I
prepared
have a
for.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I kind of chimed in late because I was doing some other stuff and I was like, oh, I got to get on my Zoom calls because I wanted to see what you do because they were telling me about you already. And I do blind contour drawing as well. So I was like, I really wanted to see, and it's so interesting seeing like your studio and everything and then the paints that you use. Cause I'm always using like a little like paint palette like this, like I use this little one like
Oh my
when I
God,
go in like urban sketch outside, but this is so cool. Like I love like everything that you're showing. I mean, I wish I had more stuff because I'm just,
you don't need
well,
more
this is like something I did with like my,
oh, great.
with my this was like, I think it was with my high school students because I was doing but yeah. So I'm excited. I just want to say I'm excited to see what you do. And I'm really pleased to be
If you
on
go
here.
onto my Instagram page, there's a lot more contour draw on there. So if you want to take a look, in the beginning you missed it. I pulled out tons. I probably bored everybody.
I'm pretty sure you did. And I was so mad because I was like, oh man, I missed the stuff that I wanted.
You can drop me a line. I'll tell you if you need to know, okay?
Okay, yeah. I'll send you a message.
So this is my latest thing that I absolutely love and can't live without. It's a magic sponge. You know those Mr. Clean magic sponges?
Sure.
So I take them and I cut them like this. This isn't good paper. I don't think it's going to work on this. So let me get some water. Oh, actually, I should talk about two things. Now we've got some nice dirty water. We always love that. Let's see if it'll work on this. Look at that, it's like magic. Because it's a magic eraser. So that's one way to get color out. The other way is I hear that you can buy something called a scrubber brush. Don't buy a scrubber brush. This is an acrylic paintbrush with very short hairs. This will do the job, guys. You don't need to go out and buy a special. See that? It works. You just can't do it hard. If you do it hard, you will destroy the surface of the paper. Now, I will say that if you've got a particularly finicky color that doesn't want to come out, and you have to really go to town, you see, I don't know if you can see it, the paper is already lifting off those little pieces of thing, those crumbs there. So this is the answer to that. If you could see this close up, I don't know if it'll show, but the surface of that watercolor paper is gone, mostly because it's printer paper, but it'll be gone on watercolor paper too, just destroyed. Excuse me. And if you paint over that, the color won't be the same. You won't be able to match it straight across. So what you want to do is let it dry all the way, and then I can't find my studio spoon. I'll have to use this one. Okay. you're gonna take a spoon. Don't use a plastic one. I have a metal one. I can't find it right now. Take a metal spoon and wait till this dries. I'm gonna do it now just to show you. And go and press really hard and go in circular motion like this. And it will flatten the paper out and it won't be rough anymore. And you'll be able to paint from one side to the other and no one will know. Even now, I don't know if you can see, but it's like almost back to normal. See if what happens. Still a little rough, mostly because it's not watercolor paper and also because I didn't let it dry before I did it. But it definitely works and you can't tell when I do it. I dare you all, look at my paintings, you will not be able to see. Okay, I don't think I have anything more to tell you guys. I think I've kind of run out.
What's your
Have I talked
Instagram?
for- have I
Trying to
talked?
find it.
I'm sorry?
Your Instagram. I was trying to find it.
Oh, you won't, I'm sorry, you won't find it under my name because
Oh.
believe it or not, there are other Suzalas in the world. It was a shock to me. It's under Suzala, like ukulele, Suzalele.
Got it.
And I'm sure Hannah has put it somewhere or other.
Yes, I put it in our Instagram account.
Okay, cool.
Is there anything else you guys want me to do or want me to show you or?
Yes, can you show us just one of your sketches that you've done strictly with a brush? I know you showed us a lot that you did with the pen and.
Oh my God, all of them. So here, this is one of my latest ones. The
Go
one
to
I
a
showed,
sketchbook
the one I
walk.
showed you, the
Love
water
those.
tower and whatnot, that was straight to watercolor. I don't use a pencil.
Okay,
Everything is straight to watercolor. I think it comes from the blind contour drawing. Let me pull this up a little bit. I think having done blind contour drawings for so long, I eliminated the pencil then. And so I just never went back. I'm drawing with a paintbrush the way I would with a pencil. And I'm mostly, I'm blocking in volumes of color. So on this one, I know I just put like this color straight across. If you look behind these windows, you can
Yeah.
see it back in there. So I got the full thing. Then I made one darker still. While it was still damp, I went in and I put some of these windows in. If you work on dark, wet paper and you handle your watercolors thicker, they won't run as much. So I went back and I put that stuff in, then it dried. I put the shadow in and Bob's your uncle was done.
it's very fresh. It's very nice.
Thank you. The advantage is you tend to, I'm sorry, there's a really bad shadow. Really, did that help? No, that didn't help at all. Sorry. You tend not to overwork as much because you're sort of living in an expediency situation. You're trying to get all the information down and while it's still wet or damp at least. And so you have to work fairly fast. You're working fast. You can't go over things 3 times and you can't put 12 washes down and glaze it over. And so you limit that. While glazes can be incredibly beautiful, they are not of my personality. I don't have the tolerance to sit and wait and go again and wait and go again. And you have to be more careful about the glaze one on top of the other because watercolors work because light is passing through the watercolor onto the paper and then reflecting back at you. If you have too many layers or the wrong colors, you won't get that fresh sparkle anymore because there'll be too many layers to come back up to you through. That answer?
That was extremely helpful. I love that explanation. And it does have a whole different look when you don't draw.
Well, you're
Pencil
not
or
that's
something.
exact. These are, I'm starting to get to where I want, we're all growing artists. When I first started, I just wanted to replicate what I was seeing. Now I really want to give more an impression of what I'm seeing. And I tend to find that I much prefer to work on site than from a photograph. When I'm working from a photograph, I have too much time and I start to get too nitpicky and too exacting. And it's really not about exacting. Nobody's going to notice these flowers here and whether they're correct. In fact, look at how mushy and crappy these look if you really look tight. Nobody's going to notice that. They're looking at the overall feeling. So, you know, the quicker you work, the faster you get down your impression of it, the better it's going to be. But this, this is all done, no pencil too. It's just it's a function of the moment. It may not be accurate to a T. It may not be exact. There's a really well-known artist, Andy Evanson, and he talks about when he paints, he does his value sketch. So if he was facing this, he would be facing it and he'd do his value sketch, a little one. Then he'd map out with a really, really, really loose contour drawing of what he was drawing. Then he takes his easel and he turns so he's like this sideways to what he's looking at, because he feels like, I'm not trying to make an exact copy of what I was facing. Now my job, I have the value sketch, I have the contour drawing down. My job is to make a good picture. It's not to copy what was in front of me. Here's my job now, not there. And so he uses that on his shoulder to be able to refer back, but not to copy.
The other night when we talked to you, you showed us a blind contour drawing you did that was really complex, of a, like, was it a cathedral or a pediment or something? And I was blown away.
Thank you.
And in fact, I've done a blind contour drawing every day since I've talked to you.
I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
I want you to do me a favor. Make
Yeah.
a commitment to yourself to do it for a month and then call me at the end of the month and tell me if you see a difference. Because I can guarantee you will see a difference.
Yes. Yeah. I'm excited. Yes. Thank you.
I thought it was in here. This? Oh, this?
No, the other one that was really complex, you know, and very detailed.
This is a cathedral, and this was really complex, I gotta tell you.
But there was another one. Remember, it was almost like a pediment or something, or
It was actually, it was the library. There it is.
there it is.
So obviously not everything on here is blind. Clearly I can't do this or fill in all these blacks accurately, but like the general structure was done blind. All of this stuff up here was done blind. And this actually, that's another show and tell item. This was done with a brand new nib that I just got recently. It's my little cardboard case, carrying case. This is what the nib looks like. And instead of it being a regular nib, it's got these channels. And let me pull it really close up. Do you see there are channels in it?
Oh, yeah.
And the channels catch the ink and they make the most fabulous lines. So
What's that nib called?
it's called a Kintari. I can't remember, I'm sorry. It's on my Instagram page. It came with a tiny little box and I don't have it anymore. And they only get it in the United States in 2 places. It was just invented like a year ago. You can only get it in 2 places. It starts with a K. About 3 weeks ago, if you on my Instagram page, thank you, Kakamori nib. Thank you, Jess. Do you own one, Jess?
No, I'm on your page. So you said it was on your page. I just scrolled down real quick.
It is on my page, and I will warn you all these cheap deals that I'm telling you about today, they're done not because I'm a cheap ass idiot, but so that I can spend $50 on this damn nib. $50, not even the handle. The handle is separate. And their handle, the handle that comes with this is like another $30. This is like a Dick Blick special for $2.99. It will fit anyone, but it just looks like that and it fits into any holder. And it is super cool. The disadvantage, and I'm not gonna be able to get it back into my holder. The disadvantage is that you have to carry ink with you now, as opposed to drawing with a fountain pen or a sailor pen. So I just happen to have some ink here. And if anybody has any of these film containers at home, please send them to me because I'm dying for one. This one is really old and it's starting to lose its control and power. So if you go onto my Instagram page, you will see that I actually use this with watercolors. And I just took a brush and I brushed colors on. So once again, you can get, you can get that nice thin line, or you can get a really fat line, depending on how you hold. Isn't it cool? I'm mad crazy for this thing. It is flipping expensive, but I am mad crazy for it. So.
Cool.
And you said you did that in watercolor as well?
Yeah, I'll show you. Hold on.
Oh, cool.
I'm digging my leaves now. And doing blind contour, you have to like really pay attention because you can feel when it runs out of ink. And that's when you know you have to stop and look down. And here's a planter. I love this thing. So what I did was, as soon as I got it, I had to like mess with it. I couldn't leave well enough alone. Let me find a brush I can use. Got filthy water here. So I'm going to, getting some Hansa Yellow Medium paint here. And I'm just gonna paint it right onto this. There's a little bit of green on it, I have to admit. You'll never see this demo anyplace else. And on the other side of it, I'm gonna put some blue, some ultramarine blue.
Oh, how cool.
Maybe a little bit too thick. And I just got this thing. I mean, I don't have that much experience with it, so if it doesn't work, give me all. Come on. I didn't put enough on. I used the wrong brush. That's what pains me.
What a cool concept.
I just started messing with it. I mean, it's really, it's the Suzala I can't leave well enough alone problem.
Me.
But there's, I don't know if you can see it, there's blue right next to yellow, where it's sort of greenish. So you can get some really interesting lines as well as color. So $50, kids, 50. I don't buy a lot of watercolor, a lot of supplies, but I do seem to spend a lot of money nonetheless. And I have to say, I just rinse it out before I rinse it with my watercolor when I'm out painting. But when I get home, I clean it with a toothbrush under running cold water to try and get into those grooves and keep it clean and not let any ink, dry on there. I think I've run out of ideas.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. How long have I chatted for here? Orated?
Just an hour and a half, not quite an hour and a half.
Really? Good
Yes.
Lord, somebody shut me up.
Hey, Suzala, I think that was the best urban sketcher infomercial I've ever seen. So if there's an Urban Sketcher home shopping network, you need to go on it. That was
Order tonight.
How many
Do not
shopping carts
delay.
do we have going right now?
I have
And
so
if
many.
you order tonight, you'll get a pool noodle free with your order. You know,
Yeah.
it's really about the mother of invention and about figuring out the best way to do stuff for you. And it's different for everybody. It's different. And what works for you one year, you may outgrow it or go on to something else the next year. Chris and Lisa, I know we were talking, you guys started out as plein air artists and you went to carrying nothing. I've gone the other way. I've gone from carrying an eyeshadow case all the way up to the full easel and everything else. Thank God I don't have a pochade box yet, man. Those things are heavy.
Has some fabulous ideas. I mean, holy smokes. So, you know, it almost looks like, you know, they say desperate people do desperate things. It almost looks like a desperate artist does wonderful things, you know.
Well,
just trying
thank
to
you.
minimize.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for another infomercial. I forgot about this. This is an architect's tool.
Yeah, I got a few of those.
Yeah, I bet you do. So when you're using that sponge thing or your brush to erase stuff, if you put this over that area, you will only erase the spot you want to.
All right.
Very handy thing to have around.
Now
I've
I
got
know
an
what to
electric
use it
eraser you
for.
can borrow.
You know what? I had it for years and I used it as an eraser guard. And then
Yeah.
as soon as I saw that,
What it was.
I was like, oh, this is the way to go. The only thing is I got to warn you guys, if you do it, the water will seep underneath it. So every time you go to move it, you have to lift it and wipe the bottom off. I don't know if you can see this really close up, but it's got watercolor all over it. So sorry about that. See those? It seeps underneath. So you have to actually lift it up, clean it with a paper towel, put it back down. Speaking of which, hello, anybody that does not have a paper towel roll underneath their desk is crazy, because
Mhm.
I go through those more times than I would care to.
That's a good place for it.
That's it, folks. That's all, folks.
All right.
It was
So do
very
you guys
good.
feel like you got what you needed from me?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
It was wonderful.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
It was great.
Yeah.
I would love to see a posting with Suzala's name on Instagram from you guys with tons of blind contour drawings that you've been doing over the month. I can look at, who is that? Pat Mahoney, look at all those frames. Holy jamoly. Wow.
I've got a very cluttered studio.
You know, I gotta tell you, I was thinking about, my husband says, you don't even have to clean your studio. It's so clean. My studio is so neat all the time. I cannot work in clutter. However, if you leave this basement and see the rest of my house, it is like a tornado. It is a disaster. Yeah. But this spot, this has to be clean. Anybody else? Otherwise, I'm gonna say goodnight and wish you all good luck. And please put my name, put my Instagram thing on your thing so I can come and look. Because I would love to
Spell your Instagram so everybody can have it. Suzala, spell it.
S like Sam, U, Z as in zebra, A, L, E, L, E. Ukulele and Souza together. And you can always find me on Facebook under Suzala. I'm there.
All right.
Hang out.
Fabulous.
And now, we recorded you and you will be on YouTube, on our YouTube channel.
I really would have preferred you hadn't told me that.
So you should go to our YouTube channel and check out our other guests, and we have all our meetings on there. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to have to check that out because normally I follow Hannah and I get all her little videos of going to Disneyland and going with the Jackson Police people here and going with them there. And I see all of that. So I'll have to go and look at your site as well.
Yes.
By the way,
well, Hannah's the one who put it up. Hannah's the one who put it up and maintains it and takes care of it.
I know she did it for Chicago too, and she did it such an amazing job.
Oh my gosh.
I believe Mary Jo could use some of your help, by the way. I want to give her a little, drop her a little note. I spoke to her this afternoon.
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay. I just thought you might like to know, I did a portrait of you while you were,
Oh, that's so fabulous.
Oh, wonderful.
That's so fabulous.
That's Lori.
while you were
Good.
Nice,
Damn,
Lori.
you guys are a talented bunch down there.
Oh, yeah.
And Lori's from New York.
Oh, that's it.
I'm a Long Island girl.
Whereabouts?
Smithtown, Wisconsin.
Oh, further, way far out.
Yeah, my family actually homesteaded there in the 1800s.
Wow.
I'm part of the Lewin family that's way out in Riverhead,
Yeah.
Wading River in that area. So I spent, my father worked for the Long Island Railroad.
Wow. I was just out in Flanders last weekend drawing the duck.
Oh, really? The big duck farm? You
Well,
know?
it's the duck is now no longer selling duck things. It now sells tourist duck things.
Did you go to the pie place?
Briarmere? No, I
Yes.
avoided it like you would not believe.
But you know the Lewin farms.
Yeah,
You've seen-
I do.
Yeah, they're
Briarmere,
my relatives.
I try and go to Briarmere in late September, and I buy a pie to put away for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah. You'd have to wait on like a zillion people in front of you, right? Yeah. Yeah, my relatives are all the Lewin farms out there.
Got it.
So,
Yeah.
and I lived on the North Shore, not
Mhm.
too far from, like in the Smithtown, Wisconsin's right next to Smithtown.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and Lake Grove, I grew up when it was all country.
Nobody
Well-
else cares.
When my parents moved out here, they were just potato farms. So
That's what they are known for, is the potato. The Lewins are known for the potatoes. You see them upstate New York.
yeah, yeah.
See them all over, you know.
The other
Well, it's nice to meet a transplant. I guess you can survive moving out of New York. That's good to know.
Well, you know, Suzala, if you ever want to come down here and give a workshop, we'll figure out a way to make that happen.
Well, that would be terrific. Right now, unfortunately, I have an autoimmune disease, so I'm going nowhere. In fact, you guys are actually meeting me without a mask, which nobody does anymore. I have to wear one all the time. But I'd be happy to do an online workshop, which I've done before as well. So if you want to talk about that, I'm totally.
Okay. You know, yes, I have
Sounds
to get
good.
together with you about that.
Hannah, did you take my values workshop or did you take my
Values.
drawing?
The
Values.
values one, yes.
And you tell Lisa how much it sucked?
It was a really good workshop. I really enjoyed that and
Okay.
learned a lot.
Values, man, it's all about the values as far as
Yes.
I'm concerned.
I'm also did a little bit of line
Oh, look
contour.
at that. I
Nice.
love it.
Right? It's inspiring, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, but I cannot
And
remember.
I'm the curly haired girl that goes straight out like that. Oh, come on.
Can you find yourself?
Let me
Oh, yeah.
highlight.
The glasses give it away.
That's
I switched my glasses
Wonderful.
midstream. I'm sorry.
Really
Those are
good.
my theme glasses.
Really
Um,
good.
personality.
You know, you guys, I got second graders doing blind contour drawing. And I will tell you, to start off with, I advise my second graders, draw the stuff in your junk drawer in your kitchen. Scissors, can openers, those are the best things to blind contour drawing. Because you can make them simple in the beginning and then start to get really involved in drawing all the, you know, when you're doing a contour drawing of like, can you see this, Hannah?
Let me spotlight. Yes.
When you're drawing this, you've got all of these highlights and shadows. You can contour draw those in as well. So go, you know, it's as simple as you want or as complicated as you want. I got second graders doing it. You guys show up, huh?
Yes.
Deal.
All right, we will.
You all have a good night and thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad to have met all of you and to know that you're part of the USK and that I'm down in Florida. I can hook up with y'all.
Thank you. You were so
Thank
inspiring.
you. Thank you very
It's
much.
been our
you.
pleasure.
Thank you very
Our
much.
pleasure.
You're
Thank
more than
you.
welcome. I gotta tell you, I was in London and I was in Paris years ago before COVID. And I managed to hook up with those artists. I managed to be there the week that they were all going out. And, New York City, we go 3 times a week. Most places like you only do it once a month. But if you plan it right, you can hit it the week that they're doing it. And it is so much fun to go out with other people. And of course, you guys are all welcome to come on up to New York and draw with us 3 times a week. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We'll contact you when we go to New York City for sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Or reach out.
For sure. I got room for at least 8 people here.
Where do you live in New York?
I'm in Plainview.
Oh, Plainview, okay.
It's
Yeah, I know.
20 minutes to either beach and 45 minutes into Manhattan.
Yeah, I lived
Excellent
in
location.
Manhattan for a while.
All right, everybody. It has been a wonderful meeting. I enjoyed seeing everybody. Thank you, Suzala, for coming. And good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good
Take care.
night.
Thank you, Suzala.
Suzala.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.